Good morning. It is 20 past 11. We have been here since 8 o'clock this morning. It is MegaCon 2024. It is January. It is day 2. We're all tired. We're all ready for a really wonderful day. It's starting to pick up again now. But before we do, I'm going to introduce you to someone very, very special. Someone who's been on our armoury team for an age, is an expert in Sand Troopers. And his name is Mr. Steve Dredge. Follow me. Steve Dredge, good morning.
Good morning, Gary. You all right?
How are you enjoying MegaCon?
It's good. It's been it's a bit quiet at the moment, but I'm sure it's going to pick up later on.
So we wanted to essentially talk to you about the Armoury and your role in the Armoury. You were there pretty much at the inception when the Armoury started to become a thing, and your expertise is Sand Troopers.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
What first got you interested in Sand Troopers as opposed to the regular Stormtrooper or any other characters?
I actually started off as a Stormtrooper, but through time, my kit got so battered. I thought, why not use that as weathering for the Sand Trooper? So that's when I upgraded from a TK to a TD.
Upgraded?
Definitely an upgrade.
That's not going to upset anybody at all, I'm
not
sure. At all. So what was the process from going from one to the other?
The process was, obviously there are different parts to the Sand Trooper, like the backpack, the pauldron, obviously different kind of blaster and everything else. So with the kit that I had, there were some adjustments to make, like the weathering as well, and then all the additional parts, as I say, like the pouches, the pauldron, and the different kinds of blasters you can have. So
that research that you did to turn one TK into, from the humble TK into the upgrade of the Sand Trooper, the research and everything that you put into that is then what made you an armourer, because that research that you did, you took forward and help other people. Is that right?
I mean, obviously, whatever costume you have, you will always make friends of the same people with the same costume. The Sand Troopers in particular are an extremely friendly bunch. I obviously got advice from them, and the new ones that were coming through, we would help and advise them on what to do and how we did it, what kind of blaster they could have, and everything else. I was then put forward and asked to be an armourer, which I gladly accepted, and it is literally just a case of helping someone clear all the way through the process from inception, from when they buy the kit to when they complete it, through to clearance. And it's a good feeling when somebody that you've helped actually passes and clears.
So my understanding, and weathering is a crucial part of the Sand Trooper look. What kind of detail do you go into? How do you help people? What do you use to take something that's a pristine white and turn it into something that looks battle worn and new?
There are a number of methods that can be used, and there's different techniques as well. Weathering is a very personal thing, whereas when you have a TK and they're all pristine white, they all look the same. But a Sand Trooper's weathering will be individual to him. Now, whether they use acrylic paint, watered down acrylic paint, and which is applied with a sponge, so it looks more natural than just painted on. The original way they did it was with like Fuller's Earth, so with the actual sand and everything else, and hairspray. Obviously, that is one method, but that can wear off. And so the majority of people will use acrylic paints in different shades of brown.
Do you sand the armour first so that it takes the paint, you just go straight onto the
it is literally, obviously with the TK, where you have the two kinds of armour, where you have the ABS and the ABS capped, which is really glossy and shiny. The glossy one's going to be more of a problem, but if it's basic ABS, like this helmet here, then there's not going to be a problem.
There's not going to be a problem. And my worry would be, if I were doing weathering personally, would be not to go too much or too little. Where's the balance? How do you find the balance with what you see on screen to?
Again, it's a personal thing. I mean, some go really, really heavy, and if I do see someone that's going a little bit too heavy, I will suggest they wind it back a little bit. Sometimes less is more.
So how many Sand Troopers do you think that you're responsible for within the UKG in the last... You've been doing this quite some time now, and you've become... I mean, you're being very humble about it at the moment, but you're somewhat of an expert in your field, to say the least. Well, no, you are, let's be fair.
I mean, the Sand Trooper armourers that we have, I mean, they are all extremely good, exactly the same as a TK armour, in fact, any armour at all. They've all earned that position. I think I've helped round about somewhere between 15 and 20.
So that's a pretty impressive.
So yeah, it's quite a through. I mean, some are obviously still in the UK Garrison, most of them are. But yeah, it's a good feeling when you know you've helped.
If someone joined the UK Garrison tomorrow or got in touch with you through one way or another, what would be they have no armour at all? What would be your first piece of advice?
Okay.
Not necessarily with brands per se, but as far as how they move forward.
Obviously, they will need to decide on what costume they want. Now, obviously, there are different vendors, which obviously there are many out there.
Personal choice.
But I would say,
but do your research.
Definitely do your research. There are two ways forward. One is to have a commission build, where a company will take your measurements and build it for you. Another one is a self-build. Now, when people hear the word self-build, they think they have to make the whole thing from scratch. That's not the case. Something like this, again, this helmet again, it will come in pre-formed parts where they will have to put them together and assemble them and trim them to their build. So it's not as difficult as it sounds, and that's what the armourers are there for. We're there to help and guide and assist people who may not have made anything like this or may not have made anything at all. It's basically just like a big model kit.
So like the Airfix kits we did when we were kids?
Yeah.
So in all the years you've been a member of the UKG, and I remember you joining way back when, you've been around for a long time now, you're old like I am. What's your favourite moment? What's your highlight of being a member of the UKG?
I would say favourite moment was doing a local event. It was a local charity event, and whereas it's all very nice, and we are known for doing the big events like this, it was one of the smaller ones. It was more intimate. The charity was for a children's hospice, and it's just the response of seeing all the kids who have life-threatening illnesses, and it just kind of makes you think that, you know what, this is why we do it. You know, the kids at the time, as I say, some of them were extremely ill, but I'm not saying we did anything, performed any miracles or anything, but it just took their mind off it for that time that they were with us.
The bad guys doing good?
Yeah, bad guys doing good, exactly that.
Yeah, no, I absolutely understand it. From taking the other extreme, moving away from the charity work, some of the larger events that we do, which is your favourite of those? We all have a favourite somewhere along the line of something we've done. Which is the one that you probably most fondly remember?
The bigger events, I would say, would have to be the ones that we do at Brands Hatch.
Oh, which I've done with you, which are absolutely amazing.
Which is,
which you generally run.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah, it's a very, very busy day. At that kind of event, it can take us an hour to walk 500 metres because we are just swamps, and it's just the whole vibe of it. It's the day. It's in July, so it's nice and hot, and it's just an absolutely awesome event. And I feel privileged to be able to attend events like that.
See, I have to say, Steve here is multi-talented, and also until very recently has been a big events guy. He runs events for us, sets events up, and Brands Hatch has always been a popular event. I've been to there. I remember though at an event like this once, not that long ago, well maybe a year or two, and you acquired a nickname. Yeah,
thanks for that. Yes.
He's known affectionately by most of the people within the UK Garrison, the 501st worldwide, in fact pretty much everyone now, as Trip.
Yeah.
I can't imagine why.
That was my last ever event as a TK. We were going in for a break, and some teenager decided to swing his leg out, completely took my legs out from underneath me. I went face first into the ground, dislocated my knee, and ended up being carried rather unceremoniously out in full kit, completely unconscious, and came to with 3 men trying to take my kit off, which is rather disturbing. But ever since then, that's been my name.
And the kind, considerate members of the UKG, such that they are, decided that from that they would name him Trip. Yes. So that he would never forget that moment, and we could always kind of laugh in an affectionate way.
The sympathy was underwhelming, it has to be said. Steve, but no, it is all in good fun.
You're a star, mate, and thank you for everything you do for the UKG.
Cheers, mate.
Steve,
thanks a lot.
Trip, Dredge, Trip.
Thank you.
Trip. Just remember Trip.